Did you like the film? Did you like the film? Excellent. Let's give a warm welcome to writer, director, Jared Bush.
Hi, everybody. It's so good to see you. Hey, everybody.
Welcome, Jared. Anira, a fifth grader from Miss Galbraith's class at Monroe Elementary.
Give it up.
They want to know what inspired you to make the movie.
Oh, man. First off, it's great to see everybody. This is amazing. Hi, everybody. Hey. You know what? We started almost 5 years ago. I think that's like half of some of your ages. 5 years ago we started. And we wanted to tell a story. So me and my good friend Byron Howard, who also directed the movie with me, and a guy named Manuel Miranda, who I don't think you guys have heard of. We all got together, we were all friends, and we said we want to tell a story, and we wanted it to be about something we all had in common, and we all had these kind of crazy families. And we thought, why don't we tell a story about a very unique, somewhat crazy family, and that's how we began.
Excellent. Alondra from Miss Berkeley's fourth grade students from Vieja Valley Elementary wants to know, why is the movie called Encanto?
Wow, so this is a great question. So one of the really exciting things about working on this movie, at Disney Animation there's hundreds of people that work there, but we started with a very small group of people that we called our Familia group. And this is a group of people who had family roots in Latin America. And we got together and we told family stories. And some of those stories were about food or about hanging out with your parents or holidays. And one of the people in this group said, hey, I know you guys are talking about doing a movie set in a sort of a magical place. I heard that some of these magical places are sometimes called Encantos. And so the name of the movie was actually created by that group, our Familia group, and it was wonderful because it wasn't just the name of a magical place, it's also charm and enchanted, and it had all these secondary meanings that were perfect for the story.
Benny P. from Miss Berkeley's fourth grade students from Vieja Valley Elementary would like to know, why did the movie take place in Colombia?
Another great question. So when we first started talking about our families and what the story could be about, we wanted the idea of perspective, about seeing each other and seeing how different we are, but also how similar we are. We wanted that to be part of our story. And so looking at Latin America and figuring out, where can you find a lot of different types of people and different perspectives? We had very good friends who worked with us on a movie called Zootopia. Yes. Juan Rindon and Natalie Osma were our really good friends on that movie. They are Colombians, and they said, you know, Colombia is really this amazing crossroads of all of Latin America, where you get all kinds of music and dance and architecture and food. Why don't you come down to Colombia and we will show you Colombia ourselves? And so we went down there and spent 2 weeks going all over the country, and we really fell in love with it, and it was everything that we were hoping this movie could be. All kinds of, as you saw, colors and music, and the amount of biodiversity is unbelievable. And there's also this tradition of something called magical realism. It's a type of storytelling that we really leaned into for the story. So Colombia is a place that I've really fallen in love with. For those of you that know it, you know that already, but I'd say as much as you guys can look into it, it is just a wonderful, wonderful, fantastic place.
Alex Kowalewski, a fifth grader from Miss Galbraith's class at Monroe Elementary, wants to know, are there any parts of the story based on true events?
Oh, yeah. I'd answer that two different ways. In our movies, there's almost always a lot of truth in our stories. One, we base a lot of things on our own personal lives. So yes, there's a lot of true stories from things that have happened to us in our own lives that you'll see on the screen. But you know, the way the movie begins, where you see the story and you hear about Abuela Alma as a young woman having to leave her home along with her husband. These are things that happen. There's a history of displaced people that have to leave their homes in Colombia, and that's something that we really wanted to tell in our story. A lot of the places you see are real places in Colombia. And then I also have, I have a 12-year-old son who is very shy and very quiet, and he really loves animals. And when he gets scared, he reaches his hand out and says, "I need you," to me all the time. So some of those things, those little tiny character moments, are also true things that are part of our story.
Excellent, thank you. Isabella from Miss Berkeley's fourth grade students from Vieja Valley would like to know what inspired you to make the house look like it did in the movie.
First off, great name, Isabella. That's perfect for us all hanging out today. So I'd say that one of the really exciting things in animation is that you can bring a lot of things to life. We knew we were going to have this magical, fantastical place, this Encanto. And early on, in talking to Byron, my directing partner, we said, well, if the people can be magic, maybe the house can be magic too. Maybe the house can be alive. And I think wherever we live, there's sort of a personality to that space. And the beautiful thing in animation is we could truly bring that to life. So we spent a lot of time thinking about the personality. Charisse Castro-Smith, who is our co-director and co-writer, said, the house is kind of like the family dog. It wants to hang out with you. It's not always that smart, but it's doing its best. And so we had a really good time working on the personality of the house.
Daki from Miss Berkeley's fourth grade students from Vieja Valley wants to know, where does the candle come from?
Great question. First off, Miss Berkeley's class has got a lot of great questions. So shout out to Miss Berkeley, wherever she is. She's back there somewhere. So the candle is actually the candle that Abuela Alma and Abuela Pedro were married to. So if you see the scene where they're getting married, that's actually that candle. It was, for them, the most important emotional object in their life. And when they left their home, they took it with them. You can actually see them. That light of that actual candle is leading the way as they go into the wilderness. And then when the miracle happens, that same candle becomes magical.
Excellent. Kelly B. from Miss Berkeley's class want to know what or who inspired the character of Mirabelle?
So that's a great question. It's a lot of things, honestly. I think many of us, myself included, kind of feel like Mirabelle a bit, I think that in life you look around and everyone seems like they have it all together and have this great life and they're super special, and sometimes it's hard for you to see how special you are. A lot of us felt that way. I'd say that Charisse Castro-Smith is very funny. She looks somewhat like Mirabelle, and actually for this movie, the people that designed the hair of Mirabelle came down and shot videos of Charisse's hair to actually put that into the movie. And then Stephanie Beatrice, who plays Mirabelle, is so much that personality. So it's really a combination of a lot of people working very hard, but also putting themselves into those characters.
And I like that she wears glasses.
Exactly, right?
Brooklyn E. from Miss Berkeley's fourth grade students would like to know, if Mirabelle got a gift, what do you think it would be?
Okay, so I get asked this question a lot. That's Mickey. I'd say, what would Mirabelle's gift be if she got one? It's interesting because when I see the movie and I think about her story, I think Mirabelle actually has a pretty amazing gift already, and that is she can see people, she can relate to them, she's super empathetic and she cares about people. That's an amazing gift that she has. It's not magic in the same way that the rest of her family is, but I think it's no less important. I'd say that if she got a gift, I guess I'd have to ask Mirabelle what she would want. It'd probably be something really weird, like playing 7 instruments at the same time or being able to dance cool. I think she's kind of a funny, imperfect, kind of dorky character, so she'd probably choose something very specific.
Leah, a fifth grader from Miss Galbraith's class at Monroe Elementary, and Julian from Miss Pasternak's sixth grade class at Peabody Charter School. They want to know, how did you come up with the characters, and how did you come up with the characters' names?
Great question. So we spend, like I said, it's 5 years to figure out what these stories are. And early on, we really started to think about, okay, in families or in your groups of friends, there's certain types of people, right? There's someone like Luisa who's super strong. You have Isabelle who's the perfect one. You have Tio Bruno, who's sort of like, we don't talk about that guy. And in a lot of different groups, you have people like that. So we really try to think about recognizable people in families that a lot of people around the world would relate to. The names are really, really fun. That's something we spend a lot of time. Mirabelle, the word mira in Spanish is to look. And so because she's a character that sees people, that was really important for her name. Abuela Alma is soul in Spanish, and that was really important. Charisse named that character that. Isabella, it has sort of the beauty within her name. That was really important. And then Antonio is somewhat named after a saint of animals. So there's always very specific reasons that we name the characters what they are.
Very good. Dahlia, a 5th grader from Miss Galbraith's class at Monroe Elementary, wants to know how many different design changes did the characters go through?
1 million. It takes a really long time. We spend time over and over and over again trying to figure out, okay, how does a character look, what their outfit looks like. As you guys saw in the movie, like everyone has a different way that they dress. For this movie, all of those different outfits actually somewhat relate to different regions of Colombia. We wanted to bring in as many different styles and different parts of that country as we could. And so you'll see that represented in an outfit like Tio Felix, who has sort of more of a Castaño looking outfit. We spent time in Cartagena, so it really feels like he's from that coast. But yeah, we spend years and years and years refining that and making sure that it feels right. And then once we have the actual actors, sometimes we make adjustments to make it feel like they're a little closer to those characters too.
So Mia from Miss Pasternak's 6th grade class at Peabody Charter School, and Jack from Miss Brinkley's 4th grade class at Vieja Valley have similar questions. Which character do you relate to and why? And who's your favorite character from the movie?
Oh man, this is a tough question. Who's everyone's favorite character? You shout out who your favorite character is. Yeah. Okay, I think I got all that. Here's what I'd say. I love Bruno so much. He's one of my favorite people in the world. John Leguizamo did such a great job voicing him, but he's so weird and funny, but then he's also so sweet, and he loves Mirabelle, he loves his family. So I'd say for me, Bruno is probably my favorite character.
Excellent. And but Mia wanted to know, do you relate to Bruno?
Yeah, you know, I think that you kind of find yourself into every character. Bruno is somebody who really loves his family, but sometimes he doesn't always get it right. Sometimes he's misunderstood, and I definitely feel in my family like that sometimes. Like I mentioned before, Mirabelle is someone who I strongly relate to a lot. So, you know, every character, you try to find some way to get to know them as you're writing that character and creating that character, because you want to find interesting things that are specific, and if you're able to see yourself in that character, it makes it easier to write.
Luca D. from Miss Galbraith Monroe Elementary class. What themes did you want the audience to experience in this movie?
That's a great question. You know, I think that this notion of seeing each other, understanding each other, perspective is something that was very, very important to us. And then linked with that, something that Mirabelle goes through is starting to understand her own worth. You know, I think it's very hard for us to look around and see a lot of special people around. It's hard to feel special yourself. And so I think that Mirabelle's journey is one where, as she's starting to see these people around her, don't always have it that easy, and some of these gifts aren't always that great. I think it helps her to see them differently, and as a result of that, it allows her to see herself differently.
Willow, a 5th grader from Miss Galbraith Monroe Elementary class, wants to know, how long does it take to make a movie like this once the script and the idea has been developed by the writers?
That's a really good question. Here's the weird part about animation. It's something that I love, but it can also make you a little crazy. We never finish the script. we never say, and now the script is done. So what happens is, starting a little over 5 years ago, we have this sort of a nugget of an idea, and then we make that a paragraph, and we talk about that, and then we make it 3 pages long. And we then eventually get to writing a script, and the first script of this was written 4 years ago, and then we just keep rewriting it and rewriting it and rewriting it over and over and over for the next 4 years straight until they say, you have to stop because the movie needs to go into a theater. We would keep changing it. This is a true number. Between Charisse and myself, we had 1,700 drafts of this movie. Yeah, exactly. So I know sometimes you guys have to go in and rewrite essays or papers that you're working on. Just know, by the time you get to 1,700, you're ready to be done. I think so. When you get to that number, it is both exciting and a little bit exhausting. And then weirdly, it's sad because you kind of like being able to mess around and change things. So yeah, it's a long process.
I had a follow-up question based on what you just said, is that I remember you telling us that this was the first time that a choreographer helped to tell the story. Can you tell?
Yeah, so that was something very important to us. We knew this was going to be a big musical, but we wanted it to feel very alive. In Colombia, dance is so important. Different types of music have different types of dances, and we wanted those to be correct. And so early on, Jamal Sims, who's an amazing choreographer, and Kai Martinez, who's Colombian and a choreographer, came in to help us, and they worked with our animators to put in specific types of dance for each of the songs. The very first song that they choreographed was one called We Don't Talk About Bruno. And when the first time we saw that, it blew our minds because it was so alive and fun, and every character danced a little differently, and it's something that we'd never tried in animation before because it's difficult, but it was this amazing combination of animation and choreography.
Thank you. Zeke, a 5th grader from Ms. Galbraith's class, wants to know, what challenges did you face making the movie during COVID?
Many. So animation is very collaborative. We spend a lot of time with each other. That's really how animation is done. For this, right as we were about to start production, meaning right as we were about to start actually animating it, and you're going to see real moving pictures, we all had to go home. And so we did this entire movie from our houses. And that meant that we were seeing it all on laptops that sometimes worked and sometimes didn't. That meant that everyone had to take all of that machinery to their homes. We had everyone's families in the background of the Zoom. So I'd say for a group of people that are used to being together all the time, it was really hard. At the same time, our movie's all about family and sort of being stuck in a house with your family, which is what we all were. And so in the background of the Zooms, you guys know, you'd see people running around, and it wouldn't be perfect, and our movie is about that imperfection being okay. So it actually turned out to be great for our story.
Millie from Miss Pasternak's 6th grade class at Peabody Charter wants to know what was it like meeting Lin-Manuel Miranda?
First off, again, Miss Pasternak's class is crushing it back there, so big ups to you guys. Really good. Working with Lin is amazing. As you guys can probably imagine, I was really lucky. The first time I met Lin, I was working on a movie called Moana, and while working on that, he was telling us that he had this new project, and it was sort of a hip-hop historical thing called Hamilton. And we were like, I don't know what that is. What is that? Good luck with that thing. And it turned out to be huge, and that's when I got to know him. And he's such a kind, generous, impossibly smart person. Working with him on these stories is so much fun. That's why, honestly, going from Moana and thinking, I want to work with him again, coming to Encanto made a lot of sense. And we got to work with him starting on day one. So that amazing trip we took to Colombia, Lin went with us on that, as well as his dad. He's just a super, super fun person to work with.
Eloise from Miss Berkeley's 4th grade students from Vieja Valley Elementary would like to know, what was your favorite song from Encanto?
Does anyone here have a favorite song? Yeah.
Do you guys know the song We Don't Talk About Bruno? Would you like to sing it? Okay, do it. Okay.
I'm sorry, me Vita, go on. You guys are great. That's amazing.
You guys are great.
So good. Give you guys a round of applause. That's amazing. Yeah, I think it's probably no surprise that We Don't Talk About Bruno is my favorite song. It's so much fun. It's so crazy. And you get to hear from pretty much every member of the family in a different way. Here's the craziest part. When Lin writes a song, he sings the parts himself. So on that song, when he first sent it to us, we had that song and 12 versions of Lin singing every single part of that. I have it on my iPhone right now, but I'm not allowed to play it for you guys. But it's pretty amazing.
Marley from Ms. Hill's 4th, 5th grade class at Crestview Elementary want to know, how does it feel for your movie to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Animated Feature Film?
It's really overwhelming, you guys. I'd say it doesn't feel normal for me in that I'm a huge fan of movies. I loved watching the Oscars growing up, and to be part of that is spectacular. I'd say the best part about it is about 800 people worked on this movie. It took an immense amount of work, and so when an Academy Award nomination comes in, it really allows our team who worked so hard to be celebrated. And that's really important to me because everyone put their hearts and souls into this movie. So that's honestly the best part.
Very nice answer. Mia from Miss Pasternak's 6th grade class at Peabody would like to know, what do you like about being a director, and what advice do you give to somebody who would like to become a director?
Wow. Well, so I started as a writer, and when I went to Disney Animation, I went there thinking that I would just be there to write, and that was when I was working on a movie called Zootopia. I loved being around the artists so much, and I found that I think the neat thing was I became a co-director on that film. You get to sort of play in all the different parts. An amazing part about animation is, you have amazing teams that are drawing sort of black and white images early on. There's music, there's animation, there's something called technical animation, which in this movie there's a ton of. That's like, how did the dresses move? How does hair move? That's a whole different team that does that. There's lighting, there's cinematography, cameras are moving all around. So as someone who's like a film nerd geek, it's amazing because you get to hang out with some very, very passionate and talented people. My advice to you on how to get into something like that is tell stories, think about stories that you're excited about. A lot of the movies I work on, it's telling stories that you personally are attached to. So I'd say if that's something that you're interested in, figure out what you really love. And that's great. Whatever that is, go for that.
Great. Last question from Sela from Miss Lee's class. She would like to know, will you make an Encanto 2?
I think, here's my answer to that. I think if you all were loud enough right now, I think I'd have to do it. That was pretty loud. That was pretty loud. I'd say that I love it. That was amazing. I can't wait to tell more stories in this world. We had such a small amount of time with these characters, and so my greatest dream in the world is to tell more stories. So hopefully that will happen soon.
Great. Now there are some class projects that we're going to bring out. Are they? Oh, there they are.
That's a good question. Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh. Wow. You all did these? These are amazing. Holy smokes, let me get out of the way so you guys can see these things. Jeez.
Very nice. Good job, gang.
This is so good.
Oh, Mary Buren Elementary made this project.
This is amazing. I'm going to tell you guys a secret, which is all of these are better than anything I could ever do. I can't draw. I work in animation. I truly can't draw, and I don't mean that like as a joke, and I can kind of draw. I'm really terrible. So amazing work. You guys are way better than I can ever be. So congrats.
And guys, let's give a warm thank you to Jared for being here.
Oh my gosh. Thank you guys so much. This is like the highlight of the entire process. So thank you all so much for being here. I've had the time of my life. This is like overwhelming. I'm going to take this with me for weeks and weeks. So thank you guys so much.
Stay safe.